bizarre story associated with it. I chose to tell the story of Stanley McCormick, heir to the McCormick fortune. He married Catherine Dexter. This is the turn of the last century. He'd been to Princeton. He was 6'3". He was handsome. He was, of course, a multi-millionaire. She, too, came from a very prominent family. It was a very Boston family, very, very wealthy woman. They married late for that era. She was 28, the first female graduate in the sciences of MIT, a very accomplished, beautiful, brilliant woman. And she felt, as some women do, well, he's a little squirrely, but once I get him away from his mother. She was catastrophically wrong. Stanley was schizophrenic, but it had been kept somewhat under control because of his mother. Once he married, he went full-blown crazy. He was known as a sexual maniac, had to be locked in his estate at Riven Rock for the rest of his life, and could not see any woman, including his wife, whom he would attack any woman on sight. And his wife stayed loyal to him and married to him and would view him in binoculars from the garden to see how he was doing. Now, how could you make this stuff up? And further, he was an early advocate of the motor car. And on their wedding, they got married at her. There's a copy of it around. There's a picture on the front. It's their wedding picture with Stanley and Catherine in front of her chateau in Switzerland, which is now the American Embassy. So these people were very wealthy. So there it is. There's the cover. That's their wedding picture of the actual Stanley and Catherine. They went on a motor trip throughout France for a month on their honeymoon. 2 other individuals came with them. Her mother and his mother. You know, you couldn't make this stuff up. Anyway, my job tonight is to entertain you with a wonderful new short story from the new book of stories, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And once that's over, then I will do a Q&A with you and sign your books. And I hope the driver didn't fix the gas pedal yet, because I really need to get back to Manhattan, because tomorrow I have to go to Chicago. And by the way, does anyone have the mayor's number here in town? Because somebody's got to do something, turn the thermostat up out there. It is just impossible here. I don't know, how can you stand this? You may know that I grew up in Peekskill, New York. I'd never been west of the Hudson River till I was 21. And I went all the way to the far west of Buffalo because I was in love with a Buffalo gal. And I prove it to you, I am fluent in Buffalo. That flat cat got hit by a car. Pretty good, huh? Anyway, now, of course, I'm a West Coast guy, and, you know, I'm not quite used to this. 2 nights ago in Manhattan, it was maybe 18 degrees, but it was the 10,000-mile-per-hour wind. 3 blocks. I felt like Dr. Zhivago at the end of walking across the steps. It is tough. Well, no more to say on that. I don't even want to mention the fact that it's been cold in Santa Barbara, and I had to put a shirt on at the beach the other day.
It's colder in Chicago.
Yeah, that's what I hear. In fact, at lunch today, one of my friends has the fancy phone, and he told me it was -6 in Chicago. That almost gave me a heart attack. But it was Celsius. It's a balmy 24 or something. I'll be in a t-shirt there tomorrow. So, I'm going to put this aside. And I would like to cast a little spell on you and read you a story from the new book. And this story is called The Lie. I'd used up all my sick days and 2 personal days. But when the alarm went off and the baby started squalling and my wife threw back the covers to totter off to the bathroom in a hobbled 2-legged trot, I knew I wasn't going into work. It was as if a black shroud had been pulled over my face. My eyes were open, but I couldn't see. Or no, I could see. The pulsing LED display on the clock radio, the mounds of laundry and discarded clothes humped round the room like the tumuli of the dead, a hard driving rain drooling down the dark vacancy of the window. But everything seemed to have a film over it, a world coated in Vaseline. The baby let out a series of scaled-back cries. The toilet flushed. The overhead light flicked on. Clover was back in the room, the baby flung over one shoulder. She was wearing an old Cramps t-shirt she liked to sleep in and nothing else. I might have found this sexy to one degree or another, but for the fact that I wasn't at my best in the morning, and I'd seen her naked save for one rock and roll memento t-shirt for something like 1,000 consecutive mornings now. "It's 6:15, she said. I said nothing. My eyes eased shut. I heard her at the closet, and in the dream that crashed down on me in that instant, she metamorphosed. From a rippling human female with a baby slung over one shoulder to a great shining bird springing from the brink of a precipice and sailing on great shining wings into the void. I woke to the baby on the bed beside me. "You change her," my wife said. "You feed her. I'm late as it is." Can you keep those people quiet out there, please? Thank you. We'd had some people over the night before, friends from the pre-baby days, and we'd made margaritas in the blender, watched a movie, and stayed up late talking about nothing and everything. Clover had showed off the baby, Xana. We'd named her Xana after a character in one of the movies I'd edited, or actually logged, and I felt a rush of pride. Here was this baby, perfect in every way, beautiful because her parents were beautiful, and that was all right. Tank, he'd been in my band, co-leader, co-founder, and we'd written songs together till that went sour. Said she was fat enough to eat, and I'd said, "Yeah, just let me fire up the Barbie." And Clover had given me her little drawn-down pout of disgust because I was being juvenile. We stayed up till the rain started. I poured one more round of margaritas, and then Tank's girlfriend opened her maw and a yawn that could have stuck in the whole